Welcome back to this week's episode of the Broken Kid Podcast, and we are back better than ever. Now, it's been a while since I've done one of these. I've recorded them. This is how we like to shoot our schedule. I like to edit them. I like to shoot them, edit them, make the thumbnails. In fact, one of the first things I do is make the thumbnails, and then I proceed to actually shoot it, edit it, and then download it, render it on my computer, and then upload it. But I don't even know why I said that, because that's literally the most useless shit I could have opened this video with. This is take two. No, I don't even know what I'm doing. And welcome back to this week's episode of the Broken Kid Podcast. We are back, bigger, better than ever. I'm excited. We are getting some momentum on our videos, which I would like to thank you guys. I don't know what I'm doing with these terrible openings, but we are going to be here with everything that's been going on with the Matthew Lillard and Quentin Tarantino. And of course, he called out a few other motherfuckers that nobody really cares about. So I guess I sound like Quentin Tarantino. But maybe I shouldn't say that. He made fun of Paul Dano. Nobody cares about him because he's doing well. And also, nobody really minds Owen Wilson, or he's doing fine. They're both not struggling. They're both... Let me lower the audio a little. They're both doing... Those are doing well. My problem was with Matthew Lillard. Now, I made a video on this, and of course, I wasn't too fond of what they said about Matthew Lillard, because as a fan of the Scooby-Doo and all these other films that he's done, like SLC Punk, but I think what people really like is Stumacher, in other words, Scream. But when we start to talk about those movies recently, with the release of Five Nights at Freddy 2, we were able to see two forces be in the same movie. They technically weren't in the same scene at all, period. Now, that would be Steve Ulrich and Matthew Lillard. Those two are icons for the original Scream movie, because for those who know, those were the original Scream killers. Now, if you don't know, spoiler, but if you haven't watched it, go ahead and watch it. But one thing that came out about Steve Ulrich was that he was supposed to be in Scream 7. Now, the reason he wasn't in Scream 7 is actually quite a disappointing story. So we all know Melissa Barrera, who was in the 5th and 6th installment, which, they were there. But honestly, I didn't go for those movies because of the new cast, Jenna Ortega. I went for the whole notion of seeing the original legacy characters. And this is why it's so disappointing that they decided to kill off Dewey / David Arquette, because he's one of my favorite characters who's a good character, who's like, on the good side. We found out a few weeks ago by Ski Ulrich that he was supposed to be in the 7th one. He was supposed to be in the 7th one. Now, the way that was going to happen is it was going to be like a 3-part story arc stretched out to 3 movies. And it's disappointing, because I think he was in the 5th. He was in the 5th one, the 6th one, I think. Or he was in... now I'm forgetting. But he was supposed to be in more than just one movie. Now, he was a figment of her imagination. So he wasn't really there. But the reason that matters is because we know this. We know that in order for him to be in the movies, Melissa Barrera characters had to be in the movie as well. But because she had to go and open her mouth, unfortunately, we got snubbed out of this role that could have been of Skeet Ulrich, which is disappointing. And this is why when you start doing stuff like this, if you're casting people, you need to cast fans, if possible, of the film series. Because unfortunately, this is not what happened. And they got the up-and-coming actors like Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera, and she had to open her mouth. She could have opened her mouth about anything else. That pineapple doesn't go on pizza. But she had to talk about something that was a real issue. And of course, what do? They decided to fire her. And when you fire her, there's no longer that character. And when that character no longer exists, we no longer get Skeet Ulrich character of Billy Loomis. So, there was this theory that possibly, if it wasn't for that, Stumacher and Skeet Ulrich could have been in the next up-and-coming movie. Now, I don't know if that's true, because it could have just been Skeet Ulrich's character that would have returned. Now, because they got rid of Skeet Ulrich because of Melissa Barrera's comments, which are, whether you like them or not, is not up for debate. My problem is that she had to open her mouth while being in this movie. Had it been anybody else, or had it been during any other goddamn project, we would have had more Skeet Ulrich and possibly a Stumacher, aka Matthew Lillard. Now, here's the part that gets upsetting. This is the part where we start to kind of get a little bit more logical. Part of the reason why Matthew Lillard could have come back could be because with everything that happened with Skeet Ulrich and Melissa Barrera, they had to rewrite the script drastically or write around it. And who could they have brought back? Well, Stumacher. And that's how we got that's how we are where we're at now. If we've seen the trailer, we hear parts of Stumacher, especially in the end. Now, I even heard a theory that David Arquette's going to be back in the form of AI. We know he's going to be back. I think he confirmed it already. But some people think they're going to be using AI to make him look like he's really there, like as a deepfake, the killer can use the AI to lure him in, to lure other people in using Dewey Riley. But of course, when you hear that, you start to think about, did they default to Stumacher, to going back to Matthew Lillard, because there was no longer Skeet Ulrich? Or could it have been that they were going to they brought in Skeet Ulrich, and later down the line, they were going to bring in Matthew Lillard as well? And this is when we start to think about how we could have had both on the screen, or both back. Maybe even they could have not have interacted with themselves because, Skeet Ulrich's character is dead, and now we don't really know if Stumacher is dead or not. So hopefully in this movie we go on to figure that out. Is he disfigured? Did he get plastic surgery? Is he dead? Is he bandaged up? We don't know. Now, usually when you do these things, what you want to do is you don't want to if you're going to bring in a character who is iconic like that, you want to see their face. So I don't think they're going to do that. But there was a big issue. You can't do this shit because you can't talk about it like that. Because one of my other issues is this idea that when the original, like what Jenna Ortega said, when they fired Melissa Barrera, they also kind of got rid of the writers and the directors and the whole shebang. Now she made the comment, I don't want to really return because the team that I originally signed on to was the team that I connected with. Bullshit. They were making bullshit movies. You mean to tell me that this is how I know you don't care about the character, because this is how I know you don't care about the franchise, because if you did, you wouldn't want to kill Dewey Riley. You wouldn't be worshiping these goddamn directors and writers who decided to kill off a legacy character. You don't get to pick up the mantle of Kevin Williamson and Wes Craven, who is no longer with us, and walk in with a pen and paper and write it in. When it's in pen and paper, some of these directors, they make that shit permanent. If they say a character dies, that character dies. It's almost like there's no other way to be original, so they have to go with the shocking decision. Now, am I a fan of Dewey Riley dying? Hell no, I'm not a fan of Dewey Riley dying. My other problem is just this notion that she said, oh man, these writers are so good. Man, you stupid little girl. Because maybe if she stuck around, because I think originally it was a 2-movie deal. Now, here's my problem. If you're a fan of the originals, which she isn't, don't you think she would have possibly hung around a little longer to find out that who was going to film it or who was going to write it? Kevin Williamson. Kevin Williamson is writing it, who wrote the first one. If you knew that, don't you think you would have hung around if you were a fan? Because you would have said, oh my god, I get to film, I get to be a part of a movie of an individual who started it all. But instead you judging him? saying that this crew is better than all the other ones. Like the motherfuckers who made the first one, who made the fifth and the second one were amazing. The people who killed Dewey Riley, that's what's amazing. That's who you want to stick around with. I don't even consider. I'm going back to see the seventh one because Stumacher's going to be in it, and I hope he's in it for more than 2 minutes. I hope he has. I hope it's kind of like the Avengers of. It's like it's. I hope this is like Avengers Endgame, where those last 40 minutes, it's pure action followed by sadness and grief. I hope that's what this movie's like, and that's my opinion on why the fifth and sixth one are not good, and especially Jenna Ortega shouldn't be called Wednesday. I mean, Wednesday is hump day, but she should be called Monday because she sucks. Mondays suck, and she sucks. And anybody who talks crap about the Scream franchise in that way, who is not, she should be grateful. That's probably the best thing she's done in her career in terms of a cult following. Now, yes, Wednesday is good and all that, and she's got that dance that she made, looking like an angry girl who has bitch face syndrome. We really don't care. But I'm going to go ahead and log off before I get high blood pressure from talking about all this anger, and log off, and hope you guys enjoy this, and take care.